check, 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 check. Welcome everybody. After the delay, is my sound coming through okay?
Oh yes.
Okay.
You're maleficent.
Yeah, so it was well worth it. Welcome everybody to Blaze of Story. We're running almost 15 minutes behind, and I have a lot of stuff to share. I'd like to start off by wishing everybody a happy Black History Month.
Okay, happy Black History.
Yeah.
Now tonight we're going to start off with a bit of meditation, and then I'm going to share with you. I'm going to share with you a bit about some traditional modalities of Black spirituality that are either been forgotten or they exist in a hidden place. And I want to honor the grandmothers by pulling those roots out of the soils and celebrating them in an open and a public way, because they're all very beautiful. I ask that everybody keep an open mind, because some of the modalities, because of culture, oppression, colonization, some of these ideas have been demonized in some ways, and we know that a lot of our sisters, not too many generations ago, they were burnt at the stake for just being smart, right? Just carrying those traditions on and on that were healing people and continue to heal us today. We enjoy all of these medicines and these practices, but oftentimes we call them by different names because it's safer and more appropriate. And I'm here today to say out loud that the cultural and traditional practices of Black spiritualism from before and today are mighty, and they are powerful, and they are important, and they should be celebrated. Where's our friend Amor? Is Amor still in the house? Amor. Oh, I wanna ask your permission to see if it's okay if I light this candle. Okay. Yeah. We host some meditation in the back room on Sundays, and we light the candle, and we light the incense, and we light our roots. But this is the cafe, so we have to be cafe appropriate, because we want to make sure Cafe Amor is here for a long, long time. And since this is being streamed live, we are on the record.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Everybody is watching you eat right now. And we are all so happy for you and a little bit jealous. Little bit jealous. All right. Now that we enjoyed the sillies, I'm going to invite everybody to ground yourself in the way that you ground yourselves. Ancestors come to me, teach me how to walk in peace. Clan love, tribal speak, we learned it in the city streets. Hash cash, talking trees, planting seeds inside of me. Hip hop, poetry, spoken word with melody, the rhythm has a hold of me. Drumming is my destiny. Grandmother cured me of my mind and now she's guiding me. Black, red dynasty, thought to be mythology, science and technology, we are the pulse of all you see. All you think and all you do, astrology is nothing new. Big Bang, stars and moon, the universe inside of you. Create and multiply. Looking through the mind's eye. If all you see is sea and sky, your chakras need to realign. Refine your frame of mind. You're grounded, but you need to fly. Shed your skin. Spread your wings. Clean your mind and realize. We let go. We are healed, we are healthy, we are at peace. We are reality, reality is we, all that we see, all that is not seen. We acknowledge the ancestors are here with us. We acknowledge the power of the ancestors within us. We acknowledge that we are the ancestors within us. We breathe in and we breathe out. Breathing in, we know that we are creation. Breathing out, we create. Breathing in, we know that we are manifestation. Breathing out, we manifest. Breathing in, we know that we are. Therefore, we be. We let go. We ascend. Breathing in and breathing out, we bring our hands together. And we lay them across the heart. And we practice love and kindness through metta meditation. May all beings be happy, may all beings be joy, may all beings be peace. We bow to our ancestors. Thank you for always being with us. We thank you for guiding us in the wisdom of your light. We thank you for our abundant inheritance of wealth and power, generosity and gentleness. We ask that you continue to guide us in the wisdom of your light, so we can continue your legacy of service. We thank you. We bow to all of our relations. We thank you for always being with us. We thank you for guiding us in the wisdom of your nature. We thank you for providing sustenance for our mind, body, and spirit. And we ask that you continue to guide us in the wisdom of your nature so we can continue your legacy of service. And we bow to each other. Thank you for always being with me. Thank you for walking in the light of the ancestors and the nations. Thank you for acknowledging and accepting our abundant inheritance of wealth and power, generosity and gentleness, and sustenance for our mind, body, and spirit. May we continue to walk in the light of our ancestors and the nature of all of our relations, so we can continue their legacy of service. We thank you. In a world that has tried to silence the Black spirit by chaining it, mocking it, or misnaming it, Hoodoo has endured. It is not a religion, but a practice, a craft, a communion. It is foundational Black American folk magic rooted in Africa, nourished in bondage, and still blossoming. But long before Hoodoo touched southern soil, its bones were walking the continent of Africa. The ancestors conjured a culture where the spirit world was not separate from the material one. The divine was in its rivers, the people, the soil of everyday life. In these societies, the ancestors worked with herbs and spirits and ancestral wisdom to protect, heal, and guide. Divination through shells and bones was common. Offerings were made to deities and ancestors alike. This was not magic in the way the West would later understand it. It was survival, tradition, and reverence. When we were captured and forced aboard slave ships, we were stripped of our names and our languages and our families, but carried their spirits. We smuggled tiny charms, bits of roots, even soil from the homeland. We hid knowledge in lullabies, proverbs, and in stories we told to our children under the moonlight. In the New World, we found ourselves brutally scattered across plantations in the American South, particularly in the Carolinas, Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana. It was there that the early seeds of Hoodoo began to sprout, born of need, grief, and memory. We could not speak our old names, but we could speak to our ancestors. We could not build our altars, but we could keep a root tied in a cloth, hidden in our clothes. Hoodoo became a whispered inheritance, passed hand to hand like a sacred ember glowing beneath the surface of daily life. As Black folk interacted with indigenous peoples and even European traditions, our practice began to adapt. The Cherokee and other southeastern tribes taught black folk about local herbs and plant spirits. Scottish and Irish settlers brought folk charms and Bible-based spells. From these exchanges and unique practices formed Black in soul, Southern in soil. The Bible itself became a tool of power. Though forced upon us by white Christianity, we repurposed it, using the Psalms and as incarnations, calling upon divine justice through Scripture. A verse could curse or bless, protect or destroy, depending on the intention. One oral history from the Gullah Geechee corridor tells of an old woman only known as Mama Trees. She lived on St. Helena Island and was said to talk to the roots as if they were her children. People came to her for everything, from back pain to justice against cheating lovers. She never asked for money, only that you bring something in return, whether that was a story, a favor, or a promise to never tell anybody where you'd been. Her home was said to hum with the voices of the land itself. For us, survivor was to conjure. Enslaved black folk in America carried spiritual knowledge into a world where our bodies were shackled, but our spirits could still fly. And so we practiced in secret, hidden in plain sight, cloaked in Christian garb, veiled and whispered in smoke. Hoodoo was the underground railroad of the spirit, a secret code of survival that moved through kitchens, porches, graveyards, and prayer circles. It became the ancestral technology, a way to speak to the unseen and manipulate fate when nothing else seemed in our control. The heart of Hoodoo lived in the kitchen. Iron pots, our cauldrons of transformation. The preparation of food was an act of magic, seasoned with intention, blessed with prayers. Salt wasn't just for flavor, it was for protection. Bay leaves lined the doorway to keep spirits out. A pot of black-eyed peas on New Year's wasn't just superstition, it was prophecy. The women especially carried the work. They buried roots near their doors. They kept secret herbs under the sink. They whispered over boiling water. They taught their daughters to listen to dreams and to always respect the land, especially where the ancestors lay. Through Christianity, though Christianity was forced and used to pacify, we flipped the script. We read the Bible, yes, but not as the enslavers intended. The book of Psalms became a shield, a spell book. Psalm 91 was worn on the body for protection. Psalm 23 called for strength and favor. Psalm 109 was sometimes used as revenge. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. My God, whom I praise, do not remain silent. For people who are wicked and deceitful have opened their mouths against me. They have spoken against me with lying tongues, with words of hatred that surround me. They attack me without cause. In return for my friendship, they accuse me. But I am a man of prayer. We hid scrolls and scriptures in our shoes. We sewed them into our clothes. We recited them under the breath like chants. The Lord is our shepherd. But we were the ones walking through the valley of the shadow, and we feared no evil because we carried the root. In African tradition, trickster figures like Anansi and Eshu were not evil. They were wise, playful, and disruptive. Their cleverness lived on in Hoodoo. When we were enslaved, we used trickery to survive. To protect our families, We'd hide rituals, even intoxicate slave catchers' dogs, and with specially crafted root mixtures. One tale from Alabama tells of a conjure woman who used corncob dolls stuffed with graveyard dirt and bloodroot and pepper. She placed it at the gate of a cruel overseer. Within 3 days, the man took ill. Within a week, he was gone. Some say the land never grew right again. Others say it finally healed. To work the root is to speak the language of the land. It is to know that a plant has a spirit, a grave has a voice, and a bone can tell the future. Root work is not superstition. It is science, art, and spirit braided together through ancestral wisdom. Conjure is the calling. It is the act of awakening the unseen forces, asking, demanding, commanding. Mama Eloise from Mississippi once said, I don't need a fancy store. My altar is on my heart. I take a lock of hair, a pinch of graveyard dust, and a prayer strong enough to split the sky. And that's all the tools I need. She tells the story of a man who came to her broken by gambling and betrayal. She gave him a bundle of bay leaves, a red flannel bag with a devil's shoestring, and a prayer to speak every sunrise. Within weeks, he left the casino and opened a car repair shop. I don't change fate, she said. I reminded who it belongs to. In Hoodoo, the veil is always thin. The dead are not gone. They have simply changed form. They linger in doorways, ride the wind, whisper in dreams, and hover in the corners of family homes. They are not feared. They are fed, respected, consulted. Hoodoo is a tradition built on the shoulders of ancestors. The spirits are never silent if you know how to listen. Communication with ancestors is central to root work. It may happen through dreams, candles, offerings, or subtle signs. When the candle flickers in a windless room, when a song comes on the radio just at the right time, when a crow follows you home, these are not coincidences, they are callings. To speak to the ancestors, one need not shout. A whisper is enough. A glass of water, a bowl of fruit, a lit candle on a quiet altar is invitation enough. The belief is simple and sacred. The ancestors walk with us. Some protect, some warn, some ask for justice. To be honest, all the ancestors aren't nice. Some of them are kind of jerky. We know them. We know who they were when they were. But we honor them. Hoodoo teaches that dreams are not mere fantasies. They are messages. The sleeping mind is the open door through which the ascended can speak. This is why children are often seen as more spiritually gifted. They dream freely. Stories abound of ancestors warning loved ones of danger, revealing the location of lost objects, or guiding them through hardships. Sister Dee from Louisiana dreamt of her great-grandmother handing her a key. The next day, she found an old jewelry box in the attic that had been locked for decades. Inside were letters, recipes, a small dried root wrapped in cloth. The root changed everything, she said. It was like she handed me my inheritance in the dream and left me the instructions inside the box. Every root has a spirit. Every leaf has a voice. To work the root is to become fluent in the language of earth. Hoodoo herbalism is not just about healing. It's about alignment, protection, drawing in luck, driving out harm, and awakening power. The earth is the first conjurer, and she's always been on our side. Water is a sacred medium in Hoodoo. Herbal baths are not just for cleanliness. They are spiritual resets. Bathing in hyssop root or salt can wash away spiritual grime, depression, hexes, or bad luck. Floor washes made of pine, lemon, vinegar are used to cleanse homes and attract blessings. A woman from Georgia recounted bathing her newborn daughter in chamomile and lavender tea. It wasn't just for that. It was to welcome her spirit clean into the new world. Grandmother used to make us eat collard greens on New Year's Day with a silver coin under the plate. She said it brought money, but what she didn't say was that every green leaf was a prayer for growth. Every meal was a spell. We were doing hoodoo every day and didn't know it. This was said from Sister Monique from Louisiana. Hoodoo is like its people. It survived under siege. From colonial pulpits to government policies, the powers of black folk magic were feared, demonized, and criminalized. Not because it was evil, but because it was powerful, because it could not be controlled. European settlers brought with them not only guns and chains, but also the burning fear that anything outside the religious framework was bad, was evil. Root work, ancestor veneration, and herbal medicine, all sacred in the black tradition, were labeled witchcraft and sorcery. Missionaries called the spirits devils. They condemned candle rituals as paganism. They conditioned us to fear our own medicine, our own traditions. The Bible, used as a weapon, became a tool of suppression, yet ironically also a tool of liberation. We reclaimed Scripture, welded it like a blade of fire, while publicly denying the very practice we secretly performed. Throughout the 19th century and the early 20th century, local laws in the American South criminalized conjure, fortune-telling, and spiritual trickery. These vague accusations were often used to arrest and find black root workers, especially women. In Savannah, Georgia, the Conjure Code of 1905 made it illegal to sell any item purporting to bring luck, remove curses, or cause harm. Many were jailed for carrying oils or incense. Police raided homes suspected of root work were common, especially in black neighborhoods. And yet, still we practiced. We worked under the radar, calling it prayer, calling it old country ways, or calling it nothing at all. We hid our mojo bags inside Bibles. We disguised the ancestor altar as family memorials. Silence was protection. The most effective colonization is the mind. By branding ancestral practices as evil, generations of black folks were taught to fear their own power. Some stopped practicing. Others kept their faith, but buried their roots. Don't mess with that conjure, some would whisper, not realizing that they were rejecting the very medicine their grandmothers once used to protect them. But despite centuries of fear and shame, Hoodoo endured, because it had to. Because when the law failed and the church turned its back, the roots still spoke. The legends of Conjure who would not be silenced. Through every trial, Conjure rose. There were names, stories, and legacies of some of the greatest Hoodoo practitioners in America. People who defied law, logic, and death itself. Aunt Caroline, the Oracle of Arkansas. Born enslaved in the 1830s, Caroline became one of the most powerful and respected root workers in the South. Known as the Oracle of Arkansas, people traveled for miles to seek her counsel. Judges, sheriffs, businessmen quietly visited her home. Her readings were accurate, her remedies potent. She was known to see through walls and know a man's sin before he opened his mouth. Despite attempts to shut her down, Caroline never stopped practicing. When she died in 1918, thousands came to her funeral. Dr. Buzzard, in Low County of South Carolina, Dr. Buzzard was both feared and revered. Known for chewing root in courtrooms to sway the judge's mind, he was a master of legal conjure. While lawyers hated him, black folks loved him. Henrietta Mama Head Green. In Mississippi, Mama Hen was the go-to healer for miles around. She could stop bleeding with a chant, reverse curses with salt and prayer, and summon a spirit without nothing but a breath and a bit of snuff. Her home was both clinic and church. She never charged, only asked for honesty and intention. I don't work for money, she said. I work for the spirit. One local story tells how she saved a young boy from dying of fever by laying him in a circle of sweet gum leaves and whispering an ancestral hymn. His fever broke by dawn. These root workers were not celebrities. They were common healers, protectors, and prophets. Their triumph was not wealth or fame, it was survival. It was power reclaimed. It was freedom conjured in a world that tried to bury them. And now, their spirits walk with us. Reclamation, revival, in the fire of the present. Hoodoo never died, it waited. It hummed beneath the surface of silence, riding through whispered bones, until the time was right to rise again. Now across America and beyond, a new generation is reclaiming the magic their ancestors were told to forget. The Renaissance isn't about creating something new. It's about remembering. Young black practitioners are diving deep into family traditions, asking elders questions, and learning from what was once dismissed as old wives' tales. We are unlearning the fear and reclaiming the pride. We are recognizing Hoodoo as a sacred cultural inheritance, not witchcraft, not the devil's work, not something to be hidden, but a legitimate and powerful practice rooted in survival and sovereignty. Hoodoo is no longer just something your grandmother did in secret. It's a living, public affirmation of black spirit. Respecting the work and honoring the ancestors. With resurgence comes responsibility. The tradition is not a trend or a performance. It's a sacred work that demands respect, humility, and integrity. Hoodoo is black folk magic. It was born from the survival strategies of enslaved ancestors. It belongs to a cultural legacy rooted in trauma and resistance. To appropriate it without understanding that history is not just offensive, it's spiritual theft. So, a little bit of difference between root work and performance. There's a big difference between someone who works the root and someone who mimics the aesthetic. A root worker knows the responsibility that comes with the spiritual power. They cleanse before they conjure. They pray before they pull. They protect before they profit. The ego has no place at the altar. The true practitioner is always in service to the community, the spirit, and the ancestors. Hoodoo is not frozen in time. It grows like a vine winding through generations, changing shape but never soul. Its future is bright because its roots are deep. Hoodoo is not just about hexes and blessings. It's also about healing, justice, and remembering. And in a world still plagued by racism, poverty, disconnection, Hoodoo offers tools for spiritual resistance and ancestral connection. As the old folks say, the root don't lie, and neither do the spirits. In conclusion, a seed that takes root in the minds and hearts of those who read it. A seed memory of resistance is a sacred flame. Hoodoo is not a relic, it's a revolution. It is a whisper passed down through the hands of hunger, a song buried in cotton fields, a name and a flame carried in the bones of Black America. It is not to be sold, it is not to be mocked, it's to be honored. So we light our candle, we pour our libations, and we call to our people. We remember that we are never alone, that the Spirit walks with us always. We let go, we expand, we ascend. Breathing in, we know that we are creation. Breathing out, we create. Breathing in, we know that we are manifestation. Breathing out, we manifest. We are healed, we are healthy, we are at peace. May all beings be happy. May all beings be joy. May all beings be peace. Ashe, 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 ashe. Before I finish, I'll mention that everything that I shared tonight, that I read tonight, it comes from a manuscript that I've been working on. It's an adaptation of a manuscript I've been working on titled "Rooted in Power: The Living Tradition of Hoodoo." So it's not often that I sit behind the microphone and I just kind of read out of a book, because I'm used to memorizing everything and performing. So this was something that was a little bit different, but I thought it was necessary because I wanted to make sure that nothing was left out. So in the very near future, if anybody wants to learn more about these traditions, if you're a person who don't quite know the difference between what it means to conjure, or hoodoo, or voodoo, or voodoo, and maybe you think all of it's just all the same thing, the manuscript that I'm working on is to unblend some of those lines that might kind of blend everything together. The intention of it is for us to have a collective understanding that the way that we've been conditioned to approach these spiritual practices that are rooted in a Black population is to also understand the way that the Black population had been oppressed, and that everything that we were doing was to be taken from us, and that we were conditioned to leave it on the side. So anything that was culturally Black was bad because there was a process of assimilation. I also want to mention that when the text says Christianity was being used as a weapon, that's not to say that Christianity itself is a weapon, but the way that it was used to break a people was used in bad faith, and in good faith and strength through Black spirituality, the Black folks found the best way to utilize the scripture, and through the scripture we were able to create codes and maps that eventually created a mental and a spiritual freedom that ran parallel with the physical bondage of body. I want to make those few things clear, because you have to have an open mind to receive anything that I shared tonight. So I hope that you receive it with an open mind and an open heart. If anybody is ever curious to know about these things, I'm happy to speak with you. I'm learning as I go as well. I'm uncovering as I go. If anybody in this room has become curious and you go home and start to do some Google searching, then my work is done. I've come here tonight to honor the ancestors and their practices. I am sure somewhere in my presentation you may have tuned into something that one of your elders was practicing that you weren't identifying in that root, and maybe you might be thinking now, oh, culturally we've been practicing these sorts of things all along, and that goes all the way back to, you know, just merely just praying over food before we eat. You know, we sometimes we think of prayer as something that's happening outside of ourselves, but it really is honoring, you know, the first conjurer, which is the planet Earth, which has brought this earth, this life that sustains us. So, thank you so much for coming out. I didn't think that I was going to finish this before 7:30, and we're at 7:22, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. It wouldn't. Thank you. It wouldn't be a true celebration and ritual and ceremony if I did not, you know, play with this drum a little bit. So I invite all of you in the room as siblings and as who are now part of this beautiful tapestry of culture that we all get to enjoy, to clap your hands, stomp your feet, move to wherever the spirit moves you. Thank you. While I have your ear and 6 minutes, I'm gonna do some plugging. So, 3 or 4 months ago or so, we met a fellow by the name of Ken Johnston.
December 31st.
Well, we first met him at in a Zoom meeting. So that was a little while earlier than the walk that happened. But Ken he's been doing these freedom walks. He's been walking the paths of the ancestors. He walked like a Harriet Tubman walk. Recently, he went from Detroit to Windsor to Buxton, Harrow. Yeah, he's been doing a lot of. I want to say he's been doing a lot of walking, but in his presentation, he identifies himself as a walking artist, like art as a walk, as performance. I thought that was really powerful, and I thought, I was like, I would like to walk. And then taking so much of our intention and our attention by storm are the monks who are walking across the United States, who I believe arrived at their destination today, which is Washington, D.C. So from Texas to Washington, D.C., I think we're talking 2,500 miles or something like this. Like, just absolutely spectacular. And the way that they've been, the way that folks have tuned into this has been very powerful, because people have peace on their mind. Like, people are thinking peace and actively putting themselves in positions to conjure peace. There's There's been groups in Windsor who have been meeting. Melanie, I think you did the Ojibwe walk. Recently, they did a walk down by the riverfront. Like really, really important and powerful stuff that in today's time that we are thinking that way. What that means to me and to my spirit is, despite the shenanigans, and I don't want to use shenanigans as a jokey light sense, like there is like serious imbalance happening right now that expresses itself in a very hateful, violent way, and folks who have the power to not hide under beds are going out into the street, and they're making themselves seen, and they're not doing it in such a way where we're going to battle hate with hate. Like this isn't going to be a war. Your hateful technology is going to expire, and when it does, we have this beautiful tapestry of peace. Like this is us transitioning into a new way of being, and as human beings, we've gone through these eras where we've seen like the rise and then the fall, and the rise and the fall, and we are like getting close to that pinnacle of collapse. And instead of people being afraid of that collapse, people are breathing in, they're breathing out, they're holding hands, they are saying, my heart hurts, but my heart is so strong. And after everything is said and done, my heart's going to continue to beat, and I'm going to put that out into the world. And that is so powerful, so powerful. And I say all of that because I don't want the next thing that I say to take away from any of that work that's happening right now. I want to present it as a contribution to that work that's happening. So on Canada Day, July 1st, I'm going to begin my own walk. I'm going to begin a 750 kilometer walk from Parliament Hill to the Emancipation Band Shell at Jackson Park. I will leave on Canada Day and I will arrive at the band shell on Emancipation Day. So it'll be 1 month of walking. The intention, the reason for this is, one, to contribute to all of the powerful work that's happening, but also to so I can continue the ancestral walk. Like I carry a mantra that continues to remind me that the ancestors are with me. The power of the ancestors are with me. I am the ancestors within me. As those ancestors, I feel like every step can be an intentional prayer, and that we can lay that all the way across the landscape, and it means something. And maybe it inspires somebody. Maybe it brings groups of people out. So through this walk, I'm starting a foundation called 750 for Peace. The intention of 750 for Peace is we are going to do an annual 750 kilometer walk. When I came up with the name 750 kilometers, I didn't know that it was 751 kilometers from Parliament Hill to Jackson Park. That just kind of worked itself out in a nice way. I'm going to do the first walk to launch the work, but every year that follows, we'll do the same walk between Canada Day and Emancipation Day, and we're going to invite communities across Ontario to do a portion of the walk. We're going to use the walk to raise funds for local youth programs. So I'll be doing this walk, and my intention is to raise funds for local youth programs here in Windsor, Essex County. But anybody that participates, they can raise funds for their community, and it can all be filtered through this foundation. So I'm hustling really hard to get everything in place by the time I start the walk. But that's some of the things that's happening. On Sunday before our meditation session, we had a meeting in here where a few curious folks learned more about the project, the foundation. If anybody at any time wants to learn more about this work, you can contact me at 750forpeace@gmail.com, or you can come here on a Sunday during meditation. It's very early. We're still in the stages of getting our board of directors together. All of the letters of incorporation have been completed, but we will be looking for lawyer to go through the articles and to file the articles. But we are moving and we are grooving. And of course, as I mentioned, 3 o'clock on Sundays, we come here, we have some meditation. The meditation is about us connecting and celebrating our ancestors. We all have them. Everybody in the room has them. For better or for worse, we have them. And part of our healing is making sure they are well, making sure they are good. So with all of that being said, I promise this time that there's been a blaze of star. Thank you. And thank you, Facebook, for tuning in.